The day is February 5th, 2951, and the Javelin-class destroyer, the UEES Warhammer, is docked at the INS Jericho deep space outpost of the UEE Navy in the Stanton system. The ship has stopped here for repairs and restocking, following raids against Xenothreat forces in the system. The crew of both the ship and the station are awaiting the arrival of a convoy, carrying vital supplies that is currently on the way to the station. However, the convoy is late, and nowhere to be seen on long-range scanners. But before too long, the station's comm array picks up distress calls from the nearby gas cloud. The convoy has been intercepted. This is the opening salvo of what will soon become a major crisis, and the first in the series of terrorist attacks across the Stanton system. The Xenothreat assault on Stanton has begun. As always, if you like this video, sacrifice a like and a comment to the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. And here's a shout out to our amazing patrons for their support of the channel and the Armory. And now back to the video. Our story actually starts several years prior in the neighboring Pyro system. According to available reports, sometime in the year 2944, the anti-alien and anti-corporate terrorist group, the Xenothreat, have taken control of the Ruin Station. Little is known about this event, besides that shortly after the group started building up their fleet for their next operation. Pyro, while being the neighboring system to Stanton, which is under shared corporate and UEE control, is a lawless system, so Xenothreat taking over the station was never met with any official response. And then things were quiet for several years, until May 2950, when several ASOP terminals across Stanton started broadcasting a distorted message, the would-be manifesto of Xenothreat. However, the message was not legible and this was taken as a random hack and no further investigation was done. Fast forward a year when in the early weeks of 2951 a corporate convoy was attacked in Stanton. All cargo was destroyed and all crew were executed. Xenothreat claimed responsibility for the attack. In response and at the request of the corporate governments in Stanton, the UEE Navy dispatched a strike force into the system to deal with the threat. Following this, on the 4th of February 2951, a video message was broadcast across all channels on all settlements in the Stanton system. This was again the manifesto of Xenothreat, announcing a revolution to crush the alien-loving government and their corporate masters, Stanton being the first step. Along with this, intel reports from Pyro confirmed that a sizable fleet of capital ships and escort craft were on their way to Stanton. With the Navy assets already in the system restocking after a fight with the forward elements of Xenothreat and reinforcements being too far to react in time, it was decided to activate the Civilian Defense Force to assist in defending the system. Advocacy Agent Dully was put in charge of the CDF operations and immediately broadcasted a system-wide message calling all able pilots to assist. We now arrive back to the 5th of February 2951. The convoy with vital supplies is lost. The Navy's heavy guns in the form of the Javelin destroyer are immobilized in the dock. The stage is set and a series of battles is about to begin. On one side, Xenothreat, with 3 stolen Idris-class frigates equipped with large-caliber prow-mounted railguns, torpedoes, and an array of smaller weapons, escorted by several flights of heavy and light fighters and Mantis quantum enforcement ships. Their objective: take out the garrison at the INS Jericho, destroy the UEES Warhammer, and then take the fight to the rest of the security forces in an attempt to destabilize the system. On the other side, the UEES Warhammer, armed with torpedoes, missiles, 2 central line mounted turrets with heavy anti-ship cannons, broadside anti-ship cannons, and many smaller turrets. However, until repairs are complete, the ship is immobilized in dock and has to rely on the small escort group of bombers and fighters and the static defenses around Jericho. These consist of heavy anti-ship cannons and smaller anti-fighter turrets. Along with this, an unconfirmed number of CDF volunteers and ships ranging from small transports and fighters to Hammerhead-class corvettes. The 2 opposing sides are about to clash in the area of Michael 1, INS Jericho, and the surrounding gas clouds. With the supply convoy destroyed, the first priority of the CDF was to recover the lost supplies from the wreck. This was no easy task. Xenothreat ships were still in the area harassing the rescue crews as well as Xenothreat troops on board the destroyed cargo ships. The situation was further complicated by the fact that the supply convoy was carrying volatile cargo that couldn't be damaged or carried via quantum travel. However, the CDF volunteers showed exceptional courage during the salvage operation, recovering precious cargo while under constant fire from Xenothreat fighters and boarding parties. Meanwhile, Warhammer and Jericho were not safe either. With the salvage and rescue efforts underway, Xenothreat have also launched several raids against the station, in an attempt to take it or damage the docked destroyer. attacking each time with an Idris taking pot shots at the station while fighters would fight for space superiority around the station. All of these attacks were fortunately fought off by the Navy and CDF with minimal damage to the Javelin. Once the resupply and repairs were completed, the UEE's Warhammer left the Jericho station in order to regroup with other incoming reinforcements and prepare for the final battle against the gathering Xenothreat capital ships. The battle would take place in the gas cloud where the initial ambush happened. The first encounters of the battle happened just as the last rescue ships were withdrawing from the destroyed transports. Shortly after that, the capital ships of both sides arrived at the scene and the clash of capital ships began. The asteroids and the debris floating around the gas cloud severely limited the maneuvers available to the Warhammer and the Idrises. However, with the prow-mounted railguns, the Idrises were able to score a few early hits on the Javelin before she was able to bring her broadside to bear. While the capital ships were trading blows from across the battlefield, the space between them was thick with smaller ships and corvettes trying to push towards the enemy capital ships. Here, the Navy and the CDF had the numerical advantage and soon began pushing the fight closer and closer to the Xenothreat battle line, which allowed the CDF bombers to add the firepower of their heavy ordnance to the fire from the Javelin. This ultimately decided the outcome of the battle, with CDF firmly in control of the battlefield and bombers conducting frequent runs. It was only a matter of time before the capital ships were destroyed one by one, and the remaining Xenothreat forces were forced to withdraw from Stanton. And with that, the battle was over, a decisive CDF victory. But this came at a cost. Both material, in the form of damage to the INS Jericho and the UEE's Warhammer, lost transport ships, as well as countless CDF casualties, but also a strategic and political loss. This relatively small incursion showed that Stanton might not be as safe as the public assumed, and it emboldened other groups to make their own attacks. It also showed a slow and insufficient response to available intel by the UEE and the local security forces. This initial attack was soon followed by further Xenothreat incursions as well as station blockades and culminated in the tragic events of the Siege of Orison. But that is a story for another video. And with that being said, that's all for today. Let me know in the comments how you liked this video. I've been looking for a new format to add to my regular content, and I do quite enjoy videos like this, so I figured I would give it a shot. Thank you for watching, fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.